In the year 2022 AD, the world and all of humanity will end. We will disappear without a clear trace of whatever happened to us. And this isn't even the first time it's actually happened. But is it possible to prevent this inevitable disaster? That is the plot hook of Noah's Notes, a Shonen Jump jumpstart that started in 2018, and all current available chapters during the time of recording are available for free on Viz's website. And if the website isn't available in your country, then you can always attempt to read it via VPN. Though I'm here to discuss today what exactly that crisis was that occurred in the last world cycle. So, what brought humanity to a complete standstill in the world of Noah's Notes? For those not caught up with the first 3 chapters, they're available again for free, so you should go do that. There will be spoilers ahead, so you've been warned. So it is established in Noah's Notes Chapter 2 that humanity will disappear and leave no sign of the 7 big hypothetical ends to humanity. These being war, epidemic, environmental change, natural disaster, technological uprising, cosmic catastrophe, or the invasion of a hostile alien force. Now, I should mention that Professor Noah doesn't actually eliminate any of these possibilities of the end of the world. He doesn't have the evidence to do so, though I feel as the audience and the reader, we work under very different rules when it comes to explanations, as the 7 different possibilities I feel are red herrings or reverse Occam's razors, giving us a simple explanation so it can later surprise us in the story with an explanation outside of our possibilities. Now, interestingly enough, actually, I don't know if Haruto actually based this off of the real-life source, but there was a How It Works magazine published that listed the 7 biggest threats to humankind, and these were almost point for point the same as the ones that Noah came up with, so I thought that was interesting to point out. But anyways, so if we can rule out the big 7 of the general destructions of humanity, and we even have to get rid of things as outlandish as invading alien forces, then we have to go somewhere else, outside the realm of normality. And given the hints that we've been given through the themes being presented in the story so far, and the abundance of biblical names and references, and of course, our main antagonist being the Knights Templar, I think it's very possible that the disaster on the horizon is a post-tribulation rapture. But what exactly is a rapture? Well, to clarify, in the Christian belief, a rapture is usually when all the true believers and those cleansed of sin will rise and join Christ on their journey to heaven and abandon the earth to an oncoming disaster, leaving all the sinners and non-believers to meet their fate there. Now, what is a post-tribulation rapture? Well, as the name implies, it is a rapture that takes place during or after a great disaster, or the tribulation. This is a popular belief of those of the Knights Templar, a knight's order during the Crusades who answered directly to the Pope. To these men, the rapture was always waiting for them, and as knights, they were prepared to fight for the church in order to cleanse the world of sin, but also earn their own cleansing of sin. And now, in the world of Noah's Notes, even after being disbanded in 1312 by Pope Clement V, the Knights Templar still operates outside of public knowledge, being linked to every great and terrible event that ever happened in human history. They appear to be working towards the goal of gathering all of the notes, and I think this is due to them wanting to bring about the Second Rapture. Now, what do I mean by the Second Rapture? Because the rapture implies that there's only ever been one. Well, in the terms of raptures in biblical mythology, there's actually been one rapture prior to even the birth of Jesus. This is the Great Flood in the story of Noah's Ark. The Great Flood was God's way of cleansing the evil humanity that had been tainted over time, and this could be represented in Noah's Notes by humanity's first great destruction, the one that no one can really explain. Though, for this to be true, we'd also have to prove some sort of holy relic or item exists in the universe. Something that gives credence to the Christian mythos that I'm talking about. Because without something like that, then these Knights Templar guys are just weirdos in cosplay doing weird magic tricks like shooting holy fire and... wait a minute. Well, by the end of Chapter 3, we do get a glimpse at the existence of the Holy Grail, and the Knights Templar that we've been following unleashes a blast of holy flame down the alleyway where the gangsters are, and from the looks of it, completely disintegrates one of them. And I'm getting some like Metatron Fire of Sine vibes here, like fucking calm down, buddy. No need to bust out your like level 98 special demon. Holy shit. Along with this, we're also told that the Knights Templar themselves are armed with very dangerous notes, implying that notes aren't just like small pieces of metal from the past or like notebooks written down, that they can actually be like holy relics from a time before. Like, we can see any national treasure or some sort of like mystical object from another religion appearing sometime down the line. That's what makes this so interesting, when we now have no real classification of what a note is, but general ideas of what a note could possibly be. And that's so fucking cool. It's like, it reminds me a lot of Shin Megami Tensei, if I'm gonna be completely honest, where you can just introduce a new element with shit like, oh no, a massive flying device that we can't seem to harm with conventional weapons. I guess we'll have to use Trishula, the third eye spear found inside Shiva's head, to bring it down. A setting like this leaves open so many possibilities that, in general, the fights will be overall interesting. Like, we can have the very underpowered human Noah trying to figure out how to trick someone who's immortal after drinking the Holy Grail into some situation where they're trapped forever. Like, that's the ultimate counter to immortality, is to just trap the person. It's just with like the open-endedness of the series setting itself and like the notes and how they're defined, I feel like this could lead to something fantastic, and I feel like it's in the right hands, and I want this series to continue because I want fucking more cool shit like this. But alongside the in-universe evidence and hints from the author, we also have the names of things that also hint at the idea that a rapture is coming. First, of course, you have Professor Noah, who works at Ark Labs, which, pretty obvious references in themselves. You of course have Noah of Christian mythos, especially since Noah was also considered to not be tempted by sins or the ideas of bribes and power. While Noah, Professor Noah, the character, is also immune to these temptations, so the characters sort of reflect each other. And then you also have the Ark Lab program, which was implemented to save humanity from an oncoming disaster. Much like the Ark of the Great Flood mythos was designed to save life on Earth. So it isn't completely insane to believe that the coming disaster for all of humanity is a post-tribulation rapture. Given that we have no signs of human life, it is the rapture that the Templars believe in. The mass destruction we see that takes place in 2022 when we get a glimpse of Mirai in her flash forward, and of course all the hints and signs that we have been given throughout these 3 chapters by the author and by in-universe characters. Now, what could the Templars have been planning for the notes, as the money and power one would get by just having a single note is worthless to them? Well, given their willingness to use very powerful and dangerous notes just to get a hold of a single note, means that the Templar are possibly trying to enact humanity's tribulation earlier than 2022, and they're doing so by using information gained by notes. And this idea of throwing caution to the wind is possibly what will lead to the destroyed buildings and destroyed cities that we do see in Chapter 1. The Templar themselves might end up being the tribulation that will cause the oncoming rapture. Now, with all that in mind, just remember these are all still theories about where the series may go, as we only have the first 3 chapters to work off, and I'm enjoying the series enough right now that I'm already starting my speculation thing where I always just like speculate what's happening next, what's gonna happen next. Like, maybe the Templars are trying to restart the world so they can rewrite history from the very beginning and gain complete control over the entirety of humanity, kind of like what Pucci did, or literally any law ending in SMT. With the idea of the holy relics and magic devices working alongside hard science and research, and we see history packed into every little corner of this series, like every time our protagonists go to get something to eat, we're shown how much the food costs and the history of the food. Like, small little details like this is what I love about Noah's Notes so far. And if you enjoyed this series so far, I would like you to go and fill out the Shonen Jump survey. It's a weekly survey that they do every week that helps you tell Shonen Jump and Viz what you want in your magazine. It's very important and it doesn't require you to pay a dime. I will show you actually how easy it is to fill out. You just go to this website, I'll have the link in the description below, and you just fill out this little bit of information right here. I don't think it's anything too personal, just like age, marital status, race, all those things, and you can just like pick other if you don't actually want to answer them. But what's important is the chapters that you enjoyed this week, and also what you want changed in the magazine. You can put in that you want, hey, could I have Noah's Notes? Or hey, could you put Noah's Notes back in the magazine? And also, it's very important to actually maybe like message Viz or tweet at them. Any way to get your voices heard. They're always listening for people, and it's usually the Western audience that helps make a Jumpstart survive. So it's up to you guys. I've been doing my best to try to get it out there. And be sure to do this. We can possibly have this series become something big, and I'd love to talk and gush about it even more. And if you want to hear me gush about series more in the future, head on over to my Patreon at patreon.com/MegaNotTheBadGuy. Though before you do that, make sure you have also enough money to buy yourself a subscription to Shonen Jump magazine. They pump out a ton of series, translated beautifully, 1 chapter a week, and it helps you keep up to date on the current running shonen in Japan right now. It's a fucking lovely service and I recommend it wholeheartedly.